and welcome to the Sanctuary, a safe space to speak from the heart. I'm your host, Israel, and my guest today is a very, very strong lady, Karen Ballesteros. Thanks so much for coming on the Sanctuary.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I remember seeing your Instagram. I like, the brain does this thing where you are like, they say don't judge a book by its cover, but let's be honest, we all do. You kind of see someone, you kind of just weigh them out, but like, my introduction to you was, what am I watching? It was you, I think you had like two bar and you squatted. And the thing about your squats is you went all the way down and then all the way
Yep,
back up.
that's the Asian squat. Grass to grass.
Yeah. I was like, okay, I need to talk to this lady. I need to find out, okay, well, how do you even get into powerlifting? That's powerlifting, right?
Yeah, it's called
What you
powerlifting.
do. Yeah. How did you get into powerlifting?
So first, powerlifting is a sport that's got three lifts. So just the squat, bench, and deadlift.
Yep.
Um, I got into it about 2 years ago
Mm-hmm.
when I was just trying to find myself, find who I was. But before that, I was actually just a regular gym goer. And that was when I was trying to build my body back up because I actually suffered from an eating disorder where I was a lot lighter than I am right now. So I used the gym and exercise as a way to gain body weight,
Mm-hmm.
but also gain strength because I felt weak at the time. So basically, I started powerlifting because I felt weak. I just wanted to
So,
get physically strong.
and how, so you were doing the gym thing for your health,
Yeah.
and then what attracted you to powerlifts? Because they are two different things, right?
hmm I think it's the simplicity of the movements is what drew
Right.
me to powerlifting.
You just go, you
And
pick shit up and lift it down and leave
yeah,
it down and drop it.
I also love the part where you can actually work towards a goal. Like I'm
Ah.
competing in 7 weeks, and I just love the idea of having to work hard to get to somewhere I want to be, and
Mm.
just that kind of goal setting mindset, and just working towards pushing yourself every day in the gym to hit those goal numbers was what really attracted me. And also, I just
So
wanted to get really strong.
it always boils down to
Let's
getting
be
really
honest, I just want
strong.
to get strong.
Why is strength a goal for you? Why was and is strength a goal for you?
I think, well, I really enjoy breaking stereotypes. So,
Uh-huh.
um, I visited. So I'm Japanese, and for the times that I go back to visit family and stuff, I would see that all the women and girls were very slim, and something about that just made me feel a bit uneasy. So I decided that I just want to be like, hey, you don't have to be this. You don't have to live. You know, I guess I don't want to say like weak, but to me that's what it is. I wanted to feel like I was, I guess, self sufficient. It's kind of hard to explain, but I just wanted to feel that I was able to exist on my own, I guess. Like, like
Mm.
the whole strong and independent woman, but like emphasize the strong. That's I don't know
Okay.
how else to put it, but
Yeah, no,
I
no.
just
You
wanted
put
to
it.
like show people that you don't have to follow the norm, I
Yeah.
guess.
I mean, you sure do not follow the norm. So, you had been lifting at the gym, but when you started with uh, powerlifting, what were your numbers when you started, and what are your numbers now?
When I started, I think from my first competition, it would have been February 2018. Um, I think both squat and deadlift were both just under 200 pounds. And then bench is probably like 100 pounds. I'm not sure.
Okay,
I don't
and
really
now?
remember. And now um, I squat 275, deadlift 280, and bench 165.
That's just insane, right? So, let's talk about your training. I guess you have a coach.
I do. Yeah, I have a coach.
And is it the same coach you've used the last 2 years?
No, when I started, I was. It's funny because from the day I found out about powerlifting, I signed up for a competition like that was
What?
5 weeks, 5 weeks later. So my training was a bit weird because it was just a friend that was just saying, okay, you should try this for this many reps, this many sets, and whatever else.
hmm
And then slowly I transitioned to the coach I have now, who
And how
happens
long
to
have
be
you been
my
working with
boyfriend.
this coach? What?
My coach is my boyfriend too.
Oh well, that makes it a lot easier, right?
It does. Very convenient.
Yeah, yeah. So which came first, boyfriend or coach?
Coach.
Okay,
I'd say
okay,
coach.
yeah. And so he competes and stuff.
Yeah, he also competes. Yeah, we're both
Ah,
competing in the meet coming up.
oh wow. I mean, I guess if you're both doing the same thing. Actually, you know what? I was asking someone this question and they didn't really answer it, but I'll ask you. Do you think, right, if you're in a relationship and you do the same thing, like you're both power lifters,
Mm.
versus you do one thing and they do something separate, which one do you think works better for you? It's not just general for you.
I kind of I like training together because it's kind of like I guess it's couple time. Like other than training and working and yeah, those two, we don't really do much. So we like to treat the gym as like couple time. It's like I guess you could say it's like a date every time, but also like one-on-one coaching,
And
so it's
okay,
also pretty
so
helpful.
how, like, yeah. Yeah, exactly, exactly. So you sign up for powerlifting. You started powerlifting. You sign up for this competition 5 weeks out.
Yeah.
Um, like, I mean, and now you're planning 9 weeks, and so like, wasn't the 5 weeks too short of a time to prepare for a competition, especially if you haven't done it before?
I couldn't hear the entire question.
Oh no, no, I'm saying, like, wasn't 5 months too short of a time to prepare for a
Oh, it's five
competition?
5 weeks. 5 weeks.
Yeah. Sorry, yeah, yeah. Like, I'm saying, isn't 5 weeks too short of a time to prepare for a competition?
It depends on the person. For me, it was definitely way too early because my technique was very bad at the time. But for more experienced powerlifters, 5 weeks could be okay, because that's generally how long a training block is. So like our
Oh,
training is
okay.
broken up into blocks. So it's like you focus on something here for 4 8 weeks, and then another 4 to 8 weeks focusing on something else, and then with like every block you get more specific until you reach the meet, the competition.
So in essence, you're still like, it's like after a competition, you are just getting ready for the next competition. Is that kind of what it's like?
For some people it is, but not for everyone. So my
Mm.
last competition was in late November 2020, no 2019 because COVID happened.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so there were no competitions then, of course, but there was
Mm-hmm.
another one most recently last November that I chose not to compete in. So it really depends on the person.
Mm, mm, mm. But in between then, how often do you work out?
I work out 4 times a week.
How long is each workout?
Sometimes 2 hours, sometimes 4 hours. It depends on what I'm doing on the day. Yeah.
Okay. And do you do the same lifts all the time you work out, or how is your workout planned?
It's pretty much the same three lifts um, every time, but not the three of them on each day. It depends on what coach wants and what he sees for the future. But yeah, most of the workout is just either squat, bench, and deadlift.
Wait. So so let's just let's do something tangible. You have 4 days in a week to train. What would you do on the first day of that week?
So I train on Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. So on Monday I do squat and bench, and then Tuesday I do deadlift and bench. Thursday is a variation of squat and then bench, and then Saturday is squat, bench, and deadlift.
And you would spend how average of how long in the gym when you work out?
Um, on average it would be like maybe like 2.5 hours.
Holy shit.
The time flies though.
Yeah, I mean, I can imagine that, but like in the 2 hours, what will you be doing? I mean,
Most of the
because
time,
you just said squat and deadlifts. Like, is that it? Like, for the 2 hours?
I mean, sometimes yes. Because most of the time I'm actually not doing anything. I'm just like sitting on a bench, just like preparing for the next set. Because for powerlifting, it's not like bodybuilding where you're, I guess, essentially doing cardio. Like
Yeah.
I don't do cardio, so I just I just lift the heavy weights and for like let's say 30 seconds, and then for the next 2 minutes I'm just sitting down. I'm just like waiting until I feel ready for the next set.
And then do you ever do reps, or is just lift it once and that's done, and then you take a break and then you lift it once again?
Most of the time I'm doing reps, but it depends on the training block. So last block I was doing maybe 5 reps, 6 reps, 7 reps. That's kind of on the higher side from my understanding.
Mm,
But now that we're getting closer to the meet, I'm doing fewer reps. So we're getting more specific to the competition lifts
hmm.
because you're only doing 1 rep.
Yeah.
So you want to go from like doing a lot to kind of like funneling down into like one and just perfecting that single rep.
Will it be the same weight, or will it increase the less the number of reps?
The lower the number of reps, the heavier the weight for sure.
So when you're doing the 7 and 5, what are the weights you are doing using for those reps?
Could be around like for example for squat, I would be doing like maybe 210 to 235,
Mm.
and then for like less reps, I'd be doing something heavier, like maybe for example 250.
Oh. Those numbers are just scary. And you think, the other thing about it is that, like, every time you lift, you're lifting twice your body weight, pretty much, right?
I get well, not quite. I'd say I'm not at that point yet. Um, so I'm in the under 63 kilo weight class. So 63 kilos is like 139 rounded up, 139 pounds. So that's about how much I
Yeah.
weigh.
Yeah, and
Um,
then if you like doing 275, it's
I don't.
pretty close.
I've only done 275 once, and that was like maybe like two months ago. I rarely like do heavy stuff.
Okay. Of the three lifts, right? Which one do you like the most, and which one are you not a huge fan of?
For a while, squat was my favorite because it just came naturally, and then it
Oh.
just kind of shifted to bench because I got better with my technique, and then it shifted to deadlift because my technique got better. Um,
And so your technique
it
decides.
depends.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, let's talk about your technique, because, like, you do this thing, and make me understand why you do it. Before, like, your deadlifts, you kind of like breathe in and stuff, and then why do you have to do that?
So basically, when I breathe in, it's called bracing, and you're trying to get your, I guess, your torso, basically like rigid, like tough, like a tree trunk, so that when you're pulling, you don't collapse, and I guess to exaggerate, so that you don't break your back. So you want to keep your spine safe. Yeah.
Oh,
So I
yeah,
breathe
because you
in.
do like, it's like, you're about to get in this crazy zone and you do like, and then oh my God, I'm like, I can't even try it.
Yeah.
I
So
can't
I
even
breathe
try.
in, I breathe in, and then I flex my abs, and then with the air that I brought in, I push against my belly, so that it becomes like a belt.
And then you also have the belts on
Yeah,
and the knee pads. Is it knee pads?
the knee sleeves. But that's
Knee
mainly for squat.
sleeves?
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, I mean, those are just so you don't hurt yourself, I'm guessing.
The belt is to help with the bracing, so that it gives you something to push against when you're pushing your, I guess, your belly out for
Mm.
bracing, and then the knee sleeves is just. I mean, I like to wear them because it makes my knees feel safe. Like when I'm
Mm-hmm.
squatting, I feel like my knees are just being taken care of. Or like it's like a nice hug. It's like okay, you're not gonna break. It's okay. Just keeps them compressed in one
Yeah.
piece.
Oh my God. Oh, and then the bench.
Yeah.
I was watching one of your videos for your bench, and you kind of arc your back, and like you do this. It's like every lift you have a ritual for it, right? So I
Yeah.
understand now what the one you do for like deadlifts and squat, with the breathing, especially for the deadlifts, with the curving of your back for the bench press. Why do you do that?
It's mainly a power lifter thing, um, because you're trying to move the most amount of weight, like the best you can. So one reason why I arch my back is to keep my shoulders safe. It puts them in a safer position.
Mm,
And also to basically cut range of motion so that I don't really have to move the bar as much.
mm,
Yeah,
oh.
I'm not really the person to ask for technique. I just kind of do things and I'm like, cool, I did it. It's like, or it's like, I do something and it's like, coach, what do you think? And the coach would be like, why don't you try that? And I do it and I'm like, oh, that's better.
um, and how long has he been your coach now?
Maybe a year,
Oh,
year and a
okay.
half.
Oh, okay. Um, and do you have? I mean, so you have all these things you do to keep your shoulders, spine, back safe. But do you have things you do to prepare mentally for, like for a session or a competition or just a lift on its own?
I find that I'm pretty good with the mental side of preparing for lifts. But the main part is the nutrition because I actually have a pretty meh digestive system, so I have to be really careful about what I eat so that I feel at my best and I'm not bloated or gassy, pretty much.
Oh.
Um, yeah, but like in terms of the mental, like I sometimes do a little shouting, I do a little shaking of the bar, I make a little bit of a ruckus before I go. But most of the time, I like to stay calm so that I don't drain myself of energy, like from the mental, and I can put everything into the physical.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's completely okay. So apart from the, lifting heavy things and dropping it down, you're also studying to become a civil engineer. How did that,
Yeah,
like, was that something you always wanted to do growing up, or how did you get to decide to study civil engineering?
I think so. The story that I always go back to is that when I'd be going to school, like when I was a teenager, I just, like be driving. Well, my mom would be driving, and then I see like construction sites, and there's buildings that are like halfway being built, and I'm like, wow, they're standing without being even completed. And then I learned about physics, and then I found out about forces and whatnot, and then I was like, what kind of science deals with this kind of stuff? And it turns out it's civil engineering,
Mm, mm,
where you can design and basically help build skyscrapers, bridges, everything, and they actually stand.
Do
So,
you have any particular type of structure you love the most?
what kind of structure?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean, bridges are exciting. I sometimes drive like across the bridge, like McKay or McDonald, whichever. Like I don't know
Yeah.
the difference honestly, and I'm like,
You
wow,
know
look at
what?
that.
I'm going to give you a tip on how you know the difference, and I just learned it the other day. McDonald has a McDonald right by it, you know?
Oh,
There you
okay.
go. There you go.
Thank you. That's
you
very
know,
easy.
yeah, I know. I just learned it the other day because, I've lived here for years and years, and I just didn't know which one was which. I'd say the other one and the other one. I'm like, which one are you talking about? So my friend just said, actually, my friend thought that the McDonald Bridge was named after the McDonald that's right there, but that's not why it's named that. But we just agreed that that's how you know the difference, and there you go. So yeah, you drive on one of the bridges, and
I just like yeah, I just drive on one of the bridges and then I don't even know what they're called, and I should be like, you would expect that I know what like the parts of the bridges are called, but I don't know what they're called. But like the things that where they stand and then you have the road and then the line thing. It's a suspension bridge. That's all I know. But I see like the parts of it, and I'm like, wow, those things are big. And I'm like, wow, there's cars on here and it's not falling. And I just find that so interesting. And then
yeah.
like in one of my classes, the professor was talking about one of the bridges. I forget which one, and I guess it doesn't really matter. But he was talking about one of the bridges, and he's like, "Yeah, forces go here, forces go there, and then they equal out so that they balance, and then like it just stays up." And I'm like, "Wow!" Like I was very impressed by bridges. So
uh,
I think I'm in the right engineering discipline.
yeah, no, I agree. I think bridges are really, to me, especially if you've gone on the one, going to PI, that bridge is spectacular to me.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, and it's so long, you just keep driving, it just doesn't want to end. But like, I really, really love that bridge. And are you almost done studying it now?
I finished my third year, and right now I'm on 16 months of co-op. So I'm working right now, just getting experience. And then
Oh.
in this coming fall, I'm expected to go back to class, and then I graduate
So you
next
didn't
year.
do the COVID online thing.
No, well, I had to. I had to for 3 weeks to finish my third year. It was terrible. I hated it
How?
because my mind, it works like this. It's like a yes or no switch. So if it's like, okay, I have to finish school, so like everything is school, and I had to stay at home, right? So home became school, and I was working for up to 14 hours a day.
Hmm.
So it's like I wake up, I do school until like the sun sets, and then it's like okay, bedtime, and then redo it. I can't turn my brain off.
Yeah. Well, fingers crossed that class is back open when you go
Yeah.
back. But now, with your placement, what are some things you do there where you work now?
So I work as a research assistant, and I basically work with concrete and cement to figure out its properties when it's being used in certain ways, and that's all I can say.
Well, no, that's no, 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 that is completely okay. And I guess you're talking about driving and seeing this almost finished building going up, and I always wonder, right? Two things: when they are bringing it down, how they keep everything in one place, and then when it's going back up, how they also keep everything in one place. It's kind of like magic to me. Those buildings, bridges, those two things are like magic. Do you find that? Well, so in the long run, you're done with school now. Uh, will you be do more research or actually, building stuff?
um Ideally I would like to have like a consulting job, where I'm designing some structures or something. I'm not quite sure, but I think I wouldn't really enjoy research too much in the long run because I get bored of things really easily, and doing the same tests over and over, it can get boring.
Wait. That I guess you should add some things because you do the same lifts over and over and over. How come you're not bored of that?
That is a very good observation. I didn't even think about it. Okay, now bringing it to powerlifting. The reason
Yeah.
why I don't get bored of powerlifting is because every rep is actually a little bit different, and every rep
Mm,
I'm trying to perfect it.
mm-hmm,
So it's interesting to me because I'm trying to make myself move in the most efficient way possible.
mm-hmm,
And with every session or with every training block, I feel like
mm.
I'm making progress and I'm getting better at the technique.
Oh
So
yeah.
even though I'm literally just going up and down with squat, moving the bar
Mm-hmm,
up and down for bench, picking the heavy bar and then dropping it for deadlift, it's
mm-hmm,
a bit different every time. And because I'm the only one who's responsible for making it move well and it's all on me,
mm-hmm,
I find it exciting because I'm in total control of what I'm doing.
mm,
But if it's like a research thing, um, you just kind of go through the motions of doing a test. You let it sit in some kind of machine to let it, I don't know, collect data, and then you get the data and you look at it and you see numbers and you're like, okay, I have to make sense of this. It's kind of different because I'm not in charge of making the material or whatever it is do its thing.
mm,
I'm not making
mm,
it do it. Like, yeah.
mm. Let's talk about no restrictions apparel.
Yes.
Yeah. So, how did that come about? Why did you decide to do that? And how did you get these, super talented people to start wearing your t-shirts?
Um, to really talk about why I started it, it was because of the pandemic, and I'm just hearing stories of people like left, right, center about how they lost their jobs and now they have no source of income. Now, luckily, I'm not at that point. I'm still in school. I haven't graduated. I don't have an actual job, like a full time job. And I
Mm-hmm,
thought to myself, I don't ever want to be in that position. And I started researching more about personal finance, and I came across like the idea of having multiple streams of income just to make yourself as financially secure as possible.
mm-hmm,
So then I just started thinking of ideas, but of course I don't want to do like just any random thing just to make extra money because
mm-hmm,
then if I don't have actual passion for it, then it's gonna burn out really quick, and then I'm gonna just feel discouraged.
yeah.
So the idea first popped up maybe May of last year, and then it only really started in November. So I had a long time to think about things, long time to, you know, long time to do some self reflection and think about who I actually am, what I actually stand for, what I'm actually interested in.
Mm.
Um, yeah. So I just basically wanted to make sure that I don't go broke if like there's another pandemic or if something major happens and I lose a full time job.
Mm-hmm. And then, what was your process of creating it?
Well, I chose I chose to make clothes because I actually don't really like any of the clothes I have in my closet. I look at them and I'm like, that's ugly, but I bought it because it was cheap. I bought
What?
it so that I can wear it to work and get it dirty. I can get it in concrete and that'll be fine. I don't care. But, you know, I just wanted another way of expressing myself,
Mm-hmm,
and I found like it's clothes are pretty like as fashion is something that you can express yourself through. And I just didn't have the clothes, so I was like, you know what? I will just make my own clothes, and maybe I'll
mm-hmm.
sell them, and people will actually like it too. Like that's pretty much how it started. But then it took on a deeper meaning when I chose the name No Restrictions.
Yeah, that's what I was
Um,
gonna ask. Actually, like, what was the story behind that? You know,
so
behind the name.
I mentioned earlier in earlier today that I struggled with an eating disorder. So it was a restrictive one. Some people might know it as anorexia. So basically, um, I would I wouldn't allow myself to eat so that I lost weight, a lot of weight very quickly, and it was just not a good time. Like I don't really um wait a second, let me rephrase that. I lost a lot of weight, and it was all because of what was going on in my head.
Mm-hmm.
And now that bringing that, knowing about it, and bringing it to the present, I thought to myself that I would never do something like that again to make myself in a disadvantaged position. So basically, I like to say that I will never engage in behaviors that are self destructive, and that I'm
Mm.
always going to be pushing forward to become the best version of myself. So that
Mm.
also ties in with powerlifting because that's not self destructive. The activity is not self destructive, it's self constructive, I guess you could say, because I'm literally building body
Building.
mass and
Yep.
I'm improving my physical strength and physical health,
Mm.
and I'm also working on the mental side of it because I need to have a certain kind of mindset to be able to um, perform and lift those weights.
Mm.
So it started with that, and the message of no restrictions is that basically don't restrict the food that you eat and to not put any limits on what you can achieve. So because if someone told me, I guess it'd be like 5 years ago, that I would be where I am right now, I wouldn't believe it. I definitely would not believe it that I would be like, you know, lifting double my body weight and I would be a lot heavier.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so it's basically just like the name is just an encouragement to say, hey, make sure you don't dig yourself a grave before it's, before you, like, you don't even need to dig yourself a grave. What am I saying? Like, I can't describe it. I
Mm.
just butchered
Mm.
it.
Yeah. No. 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 I completely get what you're saying. The name no restrictions. And also, I wanted to say thanks for sharing the background for that name. It now adds a whole lot more power, and I have I have a friend that had such a negative experience, and it was something that they were passionate about, that and the love of people close to them that helped them work on making themselves better. So I completely understand what you're talking about. But with no restrictions, right? Who comes up with the designs?
I do.
All
Except
you?
I am no artist, so
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
hire some graphic designers and I just tell them to kind of I give them instructions for what to design and I give
Mm.
them feedback.
The other thing that I want to bring up with no restrictions is all these really cool people that do what you do, or in like that line of skill set, powerlifting, taking care of their health and stuff. How do you reach out to some of these really really people, big people in the powerlifting community?
I guess it's just I think it's basic. You just kind of get to know them. You send them a
Mm.
message being like, "Hey, you're really strong. I admire you." And then you just start developing a friendship, and then you get to know each other a bit more. And then I'd be like, "Hey, I think you're a really cool person. I'd love to send you a shirt." Like, and that's it. Like, there's no strings attached. And then just send them a shirt, and then they happen to like it. They happen to lift in it. So I repost the videos, for example,
Mm.
and then it just gets the ball rolling. That's what I'm hoping to do.
Yeah, no, and like all these people are so strong, and when you bring the message behind no restrictions and add it with the amazing skills that these people have, it's like okay, I get it. Like one of the people that wears your t-shirts has 3 bars and you're squatting it. It's like, I mean,
Yeah.
of course, it's not the shirt, right? You know that, but you cannot not link the two.
Yeah,
um,
that's kind of what I'm trying to do too with the name no restrictions, and I think personally I think the design is pretty cool. So I
Yeah, it
want
is
to
pretty
thank
freaking
you.
cool.
I
Yeah,
want
yeah.
to empower people and make them feel like badass and be like, "Hey, I'm wearing no restrictions. No restrictions means this. I'm going to push myself. I believe in myself. I'm going to give this a go." And then they hit like 300 something pounds for a squat.
It's just insane.
And by the way, this person I'm talking about, she's like my age. She's also in engineering, and
Oh, are you in the same
she weighs
class?
less than me. No, she's in the U.S.,
Oh, okay.
but she's friggin' strong. I
Yeah.
admire her so much.
I'm like, I'm watching
So
this thing. It's like, you shouldn't be moving things like this, but it's like, boop, 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 and
yeah,
then do it over and over again. I'm watching. I'm like,
it
oh
takes
my god, you're
years
so
of practice and
strong. You're so
dedication.
strong. But here's the thing, though. It is painful. Like, it hurts from time to time, right?
I mean, if you do it, like if you mess up, then it could hurt. But if you don't mess up, it probably won't. Because you only get injured when you're loading a muscle incorrectly, and then it just reacts in a bad way, and you're like, oh, well, maybe not like that, but like
I'm
you
like,
can. It's powerlifting is a pretty safe sport because you're not, it's not like football where you're just like bumping into people and you have no idea if you're gonna get a concussion like in this game or the next. Powerlifting is
mm,
very predictable, but it's entirely up to you to execute the movements correctly and
mm,
to make yourself not hurt.
yeah, yeah, no, no, I completely understand that. So, in you started in November, and building it up. So, how do you do your inventory? Like, do you have it designed and then you ship to the person, or does it come to you and then you ship it out, or how does that work?
Um, so in November, that's when I really started thinking about what this brand um, is about and what I want it to be about.
Mm-hmm.
And then in December, I started thinking about a logo. I already knew the name. Um, yeah, so I came up with the logo. I had someone design it, and then I reached out to a local print shop, and I was like, "Hey, um, I have this design. I want you to print it on like a couple shirts and just kind of like get it started." So then I get the shirts. I actually have a bunch of boxes right here with a whole bunch of shirts, hoodies, and crew necks.
Mm-hmm.
And to get the brand started, I actually did a promotional photo shoot. So I reached out to the local community, the local strength community in Halifax and Dartmouth, and I was like, "Hey, I'm starting a new business. I need some people to represent the brand. Like here, come out, do a fun photo shoot. All you gotta do is just buy a shirt and support local. That's basically it." And then 30 people showed up. 30 people. That
Wow.
was like a lot more. I was expecting like five.
Mm.
So like a whole bunch of people showed up. We had a great time. The photographer did a great job. I also hired a videographer to make like quick Instagram reel videos for a countdown.
Mm-hmm.
We just had a lot of fun. Um, and then I did a little, magic on Canva, and I made some promotional stories for everyone so that they would post it, and then all our friends would know. And then I launched in, I guess, 2.5 weeks ago. No,
Mm-hmm.
2 or 3 weeks ago. I launched 3 weeks ago. I
Mm.
think it was 3 weeks ago. But we'll go with that. And now I'm just cruising. I'm starting to think of new ideas for marketing and new ideas for designs and events, and Yeah,
No,
that's where
that's
I am
great.
now.
And is it all gonna be just black, the outfits, or will you do other colors?
I'm actually not sure,
Hmm.
but black is definitely a safe color because a lot of people like black shirts and
Yeah,
wearing black on black.
yeah. I always wear black, black. Well, except now, but I'm always wearing black.
Yeah. It's very easy to style too because you could wear it in so many different ways.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But the other thing, so it's great to see you lifting all these heavy weights and doing all this stuff and no restrictions. But one of, I guess, to me, the major reason I reached out to you, but was like the caption to put and how vulnerable and how honest you were about like your mental health. Um, why is that important for you? And like, especially also putting it like right there on your social
Hmm.
media.
That's a great question. Um, so I actually also have social anxiety. Now I'm much better now than I was way in the past. But I like to talk about a lot of things on my social media because I usually don't in person. So in public, I'm a lot quieter and I don't really talk that much.
Mm-hmm.
So social media for me is like an outlet. And I'm able to express myself very freely. I can
Mm.
share sides of me that I would have a very hard time sharing in public. And I still struggle with talking on my stories, but I do like to write captions and just talk or express myself in that way.
Mm.
So I also think talking about mental health is very important because of what I've been through, and I believe that it's important to talk about it so that other people who are experiencing whatever they are right now, um, don't feel like they can't talk about it.
Mm.
I've heard that the mental health support, what's it called? Like the mental health help for mental health issues isn't very great in Nova Scotia. So I just want to encourage people to talk about their mental health a bit more and be open about it and take and so that people will start to recognize that mental health is just as important as physical health. And then
Mm.
because if your mental health isn't at 100%, then your entire health can't be either. Like you can
Mm.
have 100% tip top physical, like be absolutely perfect with your physical health, but if your mental health is shit, then you're
Mm.
only like at 50%. People
Mm.
might see you as 100%, but really you're probably not feeling that great.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, first off, thank you so much for sharing. And like, I always feel when I read captions like that, there's one person out there in the world that reading that just gives them hope to keep going, right? So, when people like yourself are comfortable or at least okay with sharing struggles you've had, and things you are doing to keep going, I'm like, okay, at least this is one person out there will read something, and it might be hundreds, who knows, but I just focus on just that one person that will read this thing and it will have a positive
Mm-hmm.
effect on their lives. So thanks for sharing that. Okay, I'm gonna let you go, but before I do, I know you have this competition coming up. Do you have a goal? This is not the question though, but answer this one first. Do you have like a goal number for the lifts for this competition?
My goal numbers fluctuate depending on how I feel, honestly, but I would love to squat 300, bench 185, and deadlift 315.
That's in what, 8 weeks? You said?
7 weeks, I think. I haven't
Oh my
calculated,
god.
but I think it's seven.
So I mean, and that's like down the thing, and you're not gonna stop, right? Like, so you're gonna just keep going. Are those numbers just gonna keep going up? Like, do they ever? Like, is there gonna be a point you're like, okay, this is it, and I'm not going any higher, or?
I don't think I'll ever come to a point where I'm satisfied with my lifts because I'll always be wanting to improve and wanting to get better and stronger.
Hmm.
Um, I can't really think of a time when I would stop lifting. Maybe when I'm forced to. Like, yeah,
Okay,
I don't
so
intend to stop.
so this is a question now. With all the things you're doing, your Instagram, your business, lifting. Now you're doing this job, and soon you'll be going back to finish up in school.
Hmm.
Um, how do you take care of all of that, and also take care of yourself? Your physical, obviously, and mental health.
Well, I feel like I've already kind of lived through it before with my third year because that was when my lifting was really picking up, and I was trying to figure out like what works for me in terms of
Hmm.
my progress. But back then, of course, I didn't have a business. But what I did was just be very good at managing my time and how I use the time. So school will be like school, and I would never bring schoolwork home because I wanted school to be school and home to be home. So that's why the last few weeks of my third year was just so messed up because
Mm,
there was no difference between school and home.
yeah.
But anyway, I would wake up really early. There was a time when I would train at 5:30 in the morning, and then soon
Mm,
after that, I would get dressed and go to school for 8:30, and
hmm.
then I might be done school at like 7 o'clock. I come home, and then I have a few hours to myself to just relax, and then I go to bed pretty early too. Back
Mm,
then it was probably around 9 o'clock, and then I can do it all over again.
gosh, that's a lot to think of.
Yeah.
But anyway, thank you so much, Karen, for coming in the sanctuary. I think I'm gonna reach out so we can talk again after your meet and find out what you actually lifted.
Okay, sounds good.
Have a wonderful day.
Thank you. You too.